The Captive Lady by Michael Madhusudan Dutt. Structure, Summary, Analysis. Hello and welcome to the discourse. The Captive Lady is a poetic work by Michael Madhusudan Dutt, one of the most prominent Indian poets of the 19th century and a pioneer of Bengali literature. Though Dutt is best known for his epic Meghnad Badh Kavya, a revolutionary retelling of the Ramayana from Ravana's perspective, and for introducing the sonnet and blank verse into Bengali poetry, The Captive Lady is one of his early English works. Published in 1849, this long narrative poem was written in English during Dutt's early literary career before he fully embraced Bengali as his medium. The poem is inspired by Sir Walter Scott's romantic historical narratives and reflects Dutt's fascination with medieval European themes. The poem retells the story of Prithviraj and Samyukta, the princess of Kannauj. It explores themes of love, war, and honor in a chivalric style. While not as celebrated as his later Bengali works, The Captive Lady showcases Dutt's mastery of English verse and his early experimentation with epic storytelling. The poem reflects the cultural tensions of colonial India, where Indian writers often grappled with Western literary forms while trying to assert their own identity. After this phase, Dutt famously switched to writing in Bengali, declaring, "I shall write for my own people," leading to his groundbreaking contributions to Bengali literature. Though The Captive Lady is less known today, it remains an important part of Dutt's journey, a bridge between his Western-influenced beginnings and his later, more revolutionary Bengali works. The poem was published in a book form in two cantos in 1849. It consists of over 1200 lines written in octosyllabic verse. Octosyllabic verse refers to poetic lines containing exactly 8 syllables. It is a common verse form, particularly in languages like French, Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese. In English, it's often seen in the form of iambic or prosaic tetrameter, 4 metrical feet, each with 2 syllables. Madhusudan preferred iambs for his poem. The poem Captive Lady has been composed based on the character of Prithviraj Chauhan. Despite the fact that the name of the poem has been changed, we see that Prithviraj is the active character of this poem, Captive Lady. The events of the poem revolve around him, so he can be considered as the central character. King Jayachandra confined the Princess Samyukta to a hill fort in the middle of the island to keep her out of sight of Prithviraj. Prithviraj, disguised as Bhatt, abducted the princess from there, and then, when the Muslims besieged the capital of Prithviraj, Prithviraj was defeated by them and died. In a nutshell, this is the story told by Captive Lady. While composing this poem, Madhusudan paid more attention to the narration of human love stories than to history. Madhusudan writes in the introduction to the poem Captive Lady, "I have slightly deviated from the above story in representing my heroine as sent to confinement before the celebration of the Feast of Victory." Summary and analysis of The Captive Lady. The Captive Lady is a historical poem and its theme is drawn from history. The poet himself narrates the background of the poem in prose before the verse begins. According to this historical context, the Captive Lady refers to the daughter of King of Kannauj, a small kingdom near Delhi ruled by Hindu kings. She was a beautiful princess whose hand in marriage was sought by the king of Delhi, but her father refused the proposal. The king of Kannauj considered himself the supreme ruler of the land and once held a grand feast of victory. As per tradition, all subordinate kings and princes were expected to attend, and most complied, unable to resist his authority. However, the king of Delhi defiantly refused, deeply insulting the king of Kannauj. In retaliation, the king of Kannauj had a golden effigy of the king of Delhi made and displayed mockingly in his court. Enraged by this humiliation, the king of Delhi, disguised with a few loyal followers, infiltrated the palace during the feast. Upon seeing his own effigy, he seized it and eloped with the royal princess, the very one whose hand he had once sought. Though she was initially rescued by her father, the king of Delhi later managed to spirit her away, disguised as a Bhatt, a bard, and married her. The king of Kannauj never forgave this insult. Years later, when Mahmud of Ghazni invaded Delhi, the king of Kannauj refused to aid the king of Delhi in retaliation. As a result, Mahmud first crushed the king of Delhi and then turned his forces against Kannauj. The king of Delhi was slaughtered and his queen immolated herself on his funeral pyre. The historical backdrop sets the stage for the poem, which focuses on the dreams of the Queen of Delhi before Mahmud's invasion. These dreams foreshadow the impending disaster. The Queen dreams first of a terrifying female warrior, blood-stained and wielding a bare sword. Her dark, cloud-like form is adorned with a gruesome belt of severed hands and a garland of bloody heads. Her eyes blaze with deathly fury, and she tells the Queen that what she sees will soon become reality. In her second dream, the Queen encounters a spectral male warrior, gaunt yet fearsome, who stands like a monstrous figure shrouded in horror. Overwhelmed by dread, the Queen cries out, but the vision vanishes. She wonders if her father, the king of Kannauj, might yet set aside his anger and come to their aid against their enemies. The poem ends here, leaving the tragic fulfillment of these omens to history: Mahmud's invasion, the king's death, and the queen's self-immolation. Through this narrative, the poem depicts the political discord among 11th century Indian rulers, which left them vulnerable to foreign conquest. It also highlights the queen's unwavering devotion to her husband. The queen's horrific visions evoke the eerie prophecies of Shakespeare's Macbeth or the grim atmosphere of John Webster's The White Devil. While the language of the poem is simple, its imagery is striking, blending romance and horror. One particularly vivid simile describes the warrior's dark form. Dark was her hue as darkest cloud, which comes the moon's fair face to shroud. This line captures the poem's haunting beauty, leaving a lasting impression on the reader. Madhusudan was deeply inspired by romantic literature, and he followed Scott Moore's Byronic style in his poem, which is evident from the given passage. The star of eve is in the sky, but pale it shines and tremblingly, as if the solitude around, so vast, so wild, without a bound, hath in its softly throbbing breast awakened some maiden fear unrest. But soon, soon will its radiant peers peep forth from their deep blue spheres, and soon the lady moon will rise to bathe in silver earth and skies, the soft pale silver of her pensive eyes. This lyrical passage describes the evening sky, focusing on the appearance of the first star, likely Venus, the star of eve, and the anticipation of nightfall. The imagery evokes a sense of quiet solitude, fleeting fear, and the coming beauty of the moonlit night. Madhusudan used personification. The star is given human emotions, maiden, fear, unrest, and the moon is depicted as gentle, thoughtful woman, lady moon, pensive eyes. Simile and imagery is magnificent. The trembling star is implicitly compared to a nervous maiden, while the moon's light is described as soft pale silver. Alliteration and enjambment has been used. The lines flow continuously without heavy pauses, mirroring the gradual unfolding of night. The passage blends beauty, radiant peers, silver earth, with subtle unease, wild without a bound, maiden fear, reflecting the poem's themes of foreboding and destiny with a romantic and gothic tone. Dutt's verse here is rich in romantic era aesthetics, blending vivid nature imagery with emotional depth. The delicate personification and shimmering descriptions create a hauntingly beautiful prelude to the Queen's tragic fate. So this is it for today. We will continue to discuss the history of Indian English literature. Please stay connected with the discourse. Thanks and regards.